And it's live. So we're recording now.
Now I will share my screen.
Yep, I can see it.
And Nico, can you see it?
Yep, I can.
Great. Now I will present a framework.
Yes, so briefly what it is and why do we
Yes, it's Java-based framework. It is used for layout testing of websites. It's rather powerful framework. It can test each element on the page. It's all CSS properties. It's layout against other elements. It consists of two main parts. First part is Java classes, where I write testing methods. And the second part is specification. It is JavaScript base language, where I describe all necessary elements in the page. At first,
for the resolution we already discussed about.
Yes, I will describe it. Okay, let's start from Java classes. Here, as you can see, we have separate methods. This is testing methods. They have some parameters. It's testing URL, and then a specification path. Also, we have a parameters with a resolution here. As we discussed with Nico, resolutions will be the next. You can see it here. 6 resolutions for desktop and 1 for tablet. But now I didn't describe tablet, only desktop.
Okay, that's fine. So those resolutions are depending the statistic you got from the site I provided.
Yes. As you shared the link with me, I choose the most popular resolutions and I will test on them.
Yes. As I saw, the laptop resolution 1336 is the most useful for testing. Not most useful, is the customers mostly use the laptops at the moment. So that's resolution 1366 4768.
Yes, here it is.
It's almost 40%, as I saw on the statistic.
Also 1280 and per 800.
Yes. Okay.
Then our tests are started from these methods. We can run separate tests for each necessary resolution.
Great.
Also, we can start run tests from Java class. It will start all resolutions. Also, we can perform testing for
sorry for interruption. Let me just, for me to remind, it is a Selenium based, right?
Yes, it is Selenium based with Maven, TestNG.
It's rather classic, you know.
Yes, it's rather classic for Selenium frameworks.
By the way, do we support like API testing in this case?
No, here no.
And does Selenium has an option to API test?
Sure, we can use different Java libraries for API testing. But this framework, Galens, is used mostly for layout testing. But if it's necessary, we can perform different actions. Click
and what is name's layout? What's the difference between layout and usual testing?
Layout, because one moment. Galens tests verify they took an element, then find its position in the screen and perform different verifications against other elements. It took its CSS properties. It compare with necessary masks. Then we can describe each necessary element, each text, each image, each block.
And even if something is generated, we can find it also, right?
It is a very interesting question.
For example, we like some tables that are generated, some elements that are generated, because I've seen that we can't find them. For example, they have some changes, ID and other stuff. Can we catch it also?
And can you give an example?
You know, the problem here, I'm not sure if we have it in our system. Maybe we can have it, for example, in our AV Secure, maybe not. But maybe we can have it, but we will have it. For example, if you register some PIN code on the card, it will give you some information about the card, and this information will be generated, for example.
Yes, it's possible to do this.
Okay, thank you very much. So sorry for interruption. Just
no problem. Also, we can call our tests from test suites. For example, we have, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pages. We can call them from one place. It is test suite for Chrome. Each necessary test will have such group desktop, and from here we can call them. They will run, and we have in output one single. One moment. Here it is, the output of the test. It is.
All the screenshots are also taken, right?
Oh, sorry.
I have seen a lot of screenshots there. So this
yes,
test
Galens creates in target folder. It creates Galens HTML reports folder where it collects all necessary elements for reports. It is HTML files, JSON files, screenshots, and they are situated, they are collected in one HTML file. It is human readable file where we can see name of the test, screen resolution, then browser on which it was tested, and the name of specification. Also, we can hear the total number of tests, passed tests, failed tests, and warnings. When we open it, we can see it's rather good report because we found an error. For each specification, there is single.
So it looks like it also finds an errors in CSS files and in some, like I can see the error in height. It also checks the images on the website, right?
Yes, it checks everything. I will tell about. But let me return back for a moment to the framework. The second part of the framework is specification. In this specification, I describe necessary elements, their locators on the page, and then I perform verifications for them. For example, for this section, I check CSS paddings. Then, for example, for title, it also will be CSS properties. It will situate inside of another element, and so on. Also, this is rather good specification to show the possibility to choose the resolution for specific checks. For example, if on the large screen the width of the element will be about 300 pixels, then in other elements, then in other resolutions, it will be smaller, and it's possible to describe here. But in specifications, there are only text verifications without any actions. In Java classes, we can use every Java feature and do what we need. For example, perform defined element, then perform different clicks, and so on. Let's go back to the report. Here we can see in each node we will have heat map. This is an image where all elements which were tested are highlighted. It's rather good to have such heat map to see that the page was covered totally. Then we have such nodes where we can have screenshots. This verification was for navigation bar and who we are section. It describes that navigation bar is situated under, who we are section is situated under the navigation bar.
Okay, so it's based on IDs in the HTML code.
Sorry, Nico?
The names of section you just shown. Give me the picture you just looked at.
These names are...
The navigation bar is the ID, the class name in the CSS file.
I created this name. It will be... I can change it.
So can you change it to be the same as the classes in CSS are, or IDs in the
Yeah, I try to do this in the same way. For example,
they are pretty similar. I see that they are pretty similar,
yes,
but just they are not the same, if I remember correctly.
Sometimes, Nico, sometimes when the customer will look through the report, it will be difficult for him to understand, for example, team card or
yes, what
IMG, because that's why I call them in such way: image, details, title, description.
Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. Okay.
Then this test found an issue. This issue is about Firefox and Edge. The image is not displayed on the who we are page.
Yes. So this will be task for Evgeny, I believe.
I don't think so, because we discussed on Friday, I created an issue and assigned it for Jan to move this issue to Studio Graphene.
Yes, basically Studio Graphene is responsible for all kind of design of very secure. Like it is not functionality of our internal logic and JavaScript. All the issues are connected here with the CSS images itself, so like HTML stuff. So for this stuff, Studio Graphene is responsible, and Evgeny is responsible with Alexia only for the JavaScript stuff.
Okay.
As you can see, we checked necessary CSS properties. Also, we can use regular expressions here to match font families, and it's rather easy to read and understand this report. And Nico, I have one question. I support 4 browsers here: Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Explorer. Internet Explorer is the very bad browser. Also, it's very slow, and even latest drivers for Selenium works rather slow. It's, for example, to perform one test for small page, it will take about 5 minutes. What do you think if I refuse from Explorer?
Well, the last thing I saw in a statistic is that the Internet Explorer is not so popular as it was. Customer will probably go to the edge from some time, but at this moment it still have more than 15% of all market.
How much
So,
percent?
about 15%.
15, it's not so much, I think.
Yes, it's not. Wow. If you have million of people, then 15% is 150,000 people with the Internet Explorer. So it's big.
As
I don't know. I'm not sure about Internet Explorer because there are many other browsers that use the Internet Explorer engine. For example, did you ever hear for the Maxton?
no,
This is unbelievably good browser, and his engine relays on the Internet Explorer browser, for example, and he is bigger and bigger in the moment, and I believe it will have a good part of market in a near future. What about Onion browsers also?
there are no drivers for Onion browsers.
No one,
No.
even Tor.
Yeah.
As far as I know, when people are talking with Tor browser and they're working with it, they're not using Selenium. There are some other frameworks to use it because Tor browser has its own logic, and unfortunately, not everybody creating drivers. So Selenium WebDriver is logic the next one. It connects to the browser and start to move it and start to run it. And I am not sure that Selenium works with Tor browser. So maybe if we want to test Tor browser in this case, we need to use some other framework.
The main idea of this framework is to verify the main layouts of the website. So as I can see, we can do it, for example, in 3 browsers. And if there are no issues, it's great. But I can do manual testing in Explorer, for example, in Tor, for example. It's not a problem to open a page and looks through. The main
if the automatic testing that includes the Internet Explorer is a problem for you, there is fine with me that you test some other browsers with much easier manually or in a way you want. As you understand me, the idea is now exclude the Internet Explorer for the further automatic testing and do it manually.
Yes, because I don't think that I think that manual testing for Internet Explorer is rather faster than automatic.
Yes, and will get better results.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand your point. And what I want is to include more browsers, just not Internet Explorer. I would really like to include Onion browsers in this stuff because what I understood that we will encourage people to use the Onion browser. So if we have some ideas in the background that encourage people to use any Onion browsers, it makes no sense that we don't test it.
Then we will check Onion browsers manually. Now
Okay.
I will show you Selenium website. Here you can see that we can check Mozilla, Google Chrome Drive, Google Chrome.
Yeah, and what about Opera? I don't see that you.
Opera, it's I tried to set up it, but driver is rather bad. It does not work.
So this is one more thing you should test manually.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a notes now what you should do manually it's for Internet Explorer. You can exclude it now, just now. Is it easy just to delete it from the testing properties file? And
yes, and then we will have 3 browsers in automation.
yes, 3 browsers in automation, and after that do the manual job on the others. But please cover all the automated processes, but manually.
Sure, and also
can you do it? Is the too big pain in the ass for you?
sorry.
Is it too hard to finish this task?
No.
No. So it makes sense. Does it make sense for you that we test manually things that can be automated? That will. You need more time if you test manually, not manually, automatically. Then you tested manually. So let's say again, you need more time to test all the things automatically. Then you separate things and do some for some browsers automatically testing, for the other browsers do the manual testing.
Yes.
Okay.
These 3 browsers are fast, and this is
very slow and not reliable. Okay, I understand your point. So just create a list of browsers for manual testing, and leave the browsers that are good for automated testing at this point. I'm not sure about Opera. Can you find another driver you can use for automating testing?
I will try.
If you can, it would be really good, because these 3 browsers are, I can say, that don't cover enough percent of marketplace.
Okay, I will try. Also, we can add to this framework another tests, for example, workflow for registration with entering AV secure key.
That's a great idea.
And so on. But it will be done only when we will have the stable functionality. And for now,
that will be very hard to accomplish. If I understand Ian correctly, and I think that I understand him, we will need to change all the screens. At the moment, we just got another bunch of new screens.
Yes, that's why I didn't write tests for.
Okay, can you do you have these screens?
Sure, one moment. This?
No, that's not the new version. Let me.
Somewhere in Slack, as I remember.
Just a second. I believe I have the. Yes, here it is. I will send you. Here is the link. Yes, just go back and you will find the. Okay, this is the new. These are new screenshots, and I believe the all will be included in 2.1. So it will need pretty much refactoring and another testing. And I'm just wondering now, does it really make sense? It will slow us very much if you finish all testing on the version that will be excluded soon. Vitaly, what do you think about it?
Frankly speaking, I'm not sure yet.
Well, we are looking on a new screen. We are looking on a new screens that are provided for us, and I believe that all these screens, as I remember, will be included in the 2.1 Alpha 2.1. So
Frankly speaking, as far as I can remember, I thought that we have all the screens finished, almost all the screens.
I'm not. However, the new one should be included, and in a process of including new page that you can mess up the previous page. So the testing on previous page will be not valid at the moment when you add new page.
So
I'm wondering, at this moment, I'm wondering, does it make sense to continue testing on the screens? They will be changed very soon.
Good question, frankly speaking. Maybe you're right, maybe you know. Kirill, so your auto tests are checking only CSS and images, right?
CSS, images, HTML, all DOM elements. And if it's necessary, I will implement functional testing. These screens are concerning functional testing. Also, UI testing, it is two flows for these screens.
Yes, this is a fully different flow, as I see.
For current moment, I didn't cover any of this screen. I didn't start it because there were a lot of work for last week's manual work.
Sure, I understand this, fully understand this. So when we're speaking about the functionality testing, so you can cover every event that will be done on every page. So every click on every button, every input on any field. Is that what you think when you said testing of functionality?
Yes.
Yes.
You're correct.
So you can do it automatically?
Yes.
That's
Selenium, its main functions of Selenium to find input field, to type in, then click continue button. For example, type in invalid data, check all errors, all colors, all layouts, everything you need.
This is actually this is really great. So real good testing job for testing. Well, we really need that functionality testing, automatic functionality testing. I know that you will have a much more job on manual testing for the browsers I just mentioned. So try to find the appropriate driver if it is possible for Opera. And if the Internet Explorer is a problem for you, exclude it and do the manual testing. I believe that these 4 or 5 browsers are good enough for testing, but what I want also to include is one Onion browser, at least one, but let's say one. If I'm correct, it will be best to do testing on a Tor browser.
As you can see, my working browsers are Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Edge, Explorer, Opera, and Tor.
And Tor, yes.
They are the main.
Yes. So you can exclude Safari. You can exclude Safari.
Safari for Windows, no, it doesn't work. It's like testing on Explorer 5 version.
Yes, we talked about yesterday. About that yesterday. I tried on version 5.17, I believe, and it's all blank. So
I have virtual machines with macOS and Ubuntu.
This is actually hacked, man. Okay, I understand.
Sorry, just like interruption to rush in. So my main idea is like, so we are testing the CSS image HTML. As far as I can understand, when we do it, Studio Graph does it, right? Okay, let's from the very beginning. Why do we need automation testing? We need to run from like some changes has been implemented, and we need to recheck it fast. Some changes have been implemented.
Well,
Yes.
I will explain you, Vitaly. Automatic testing is something that you define before you try to test something manually. So it's much easier that you have some kind of algorithm where you can check all the things before you start testing than to do it manually. Because when you work something manually, it's very, very easy to overlook some things. Even that could be smallest part of the page. That could be some element that you just have overlooked in testing, and it's really hard to track all the things manually. When you have automatic testing, you will cover all these things very easily. So that's why we have automatic testing.
Frankly speaking, I'm still not sure that you understood me right, because I basically know why we need automation testing. But again, when we need to retest something, when we have some changes, right? Automation testing when we run and when we have some, for example, CI/CD process, and we have implemented something, and we need to check that everything went correct, for example, because otherwise manual testing is more cheap, is faster and more correct. That means that when we check the CSS, some images and HTML, and Studio Graphen does it, that means that we won't change these images. We will change functionality, first of all. We will change the JavaScript. And I mean that like testing, automation testing of CSS and HTML, the stuff that is not going to be changed in the nearest time, maybe it is not a good idea. I think that what we need to focus is to fix and to check the JavaScript and to test the JavaScript. It is my main idea. So I'm not sure how strong and how hard we need this test of CSS and HTML. It is a question.
We need it.
For example, I can explain. We have our main page. It have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 pages, then terms and conditions, privacy policy. This is our face of the company. And when we begin to test it, for example, some changes were done. When I will take, for example, a page ruler extension and I start measure different spaces, I will check element positions on each browser, on each page. It will took very much time. Yeah, and manually or automatic tests will do it in 20 minutes. I mean 20 minutes, for example, for
all browsers.
Yes, all browsers, all pages. You can see the number of tests. About 400 tests and about, I think, 20 lines, about 8,000 tests here. They performed in half an hour.
Yes, and if you do that manually,
yeah, each page, each browser,
it will take 10 days.
But is it going to change all this stuff, all these pages, or we fix it? For example, you have reported some error connected with CSS, right? Studio Graphen is going to fix it. And when some information, content on this page will change, I think that only functionality will change in that time. Or am I wrong?
I think that we will change the whole flow. As I send you the new screens, I believe that we will implement the new screens and the flow will be changed. So how we can be sure that Evgeny and Alexei will not make the changes in the JavaScript?
In case if the all flow is changed, we will need to rewrite the tests, right?
Well,
not to rewrite, but change some small elements. For example, if some text was changed, I need to change only one line. Yes.
I will. Okay. I will rephrase my question. When are we going to run these tests? How often?
In each regression session, also like smoke testing, when some functionality, some elements in the web page was changed.
Okay, some functionality is going to be changed, but not the layout, as far as I can understand. It is the question. So, like, if layout is not going to be changed, why do we need to test it in automatization? I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay, I understand.
Do you understand why I'm asking this? Because as far as I can understand, our team is continuously working on the functionality, but not on the layout. In this test, we are going to test the layout. And when is it going to change? For example, it will change in 1 month. So why do we need the automation tests? Because testing once a month is must, like it is faster manually and to be more correct manually, for example. Because otherwise, you will need to rewrite the tests. It is like a problem. If we really need some automation stuff and functionality is going to be changed, we need to check the functionality first of all. And it will be our main automation focus, as I can understand it. So, just like only a matter of how often are we going to change the layout and how often do we need to test the layout.
Okay, then we have a question for Ian about these new screens. Functional testing will include entering all necessary data in input fields and repeat the process of end user, his actions. This part need to be automated. And other one, which concerns layout, colors, CSS properties, then we will wait.
The look of this page is different that we have one at the moment. So you should test it. You should test UI.
Yes, in these screens we have each element highlighted with and its properties.
What do you want to exclude, Vitaly?
I want to exclude
what
layout testing, I think. For the pages that are not going to be changed. It's the layout stuff. So when we are talking about the automation testing is useful in sprints, in CI/CD, in continuous integration, and continuous deployment stuff. Continuous deployment means like once a week, once a 2 week. Otherwise, it is cheaper to test manually. That means that in this case, I think in case of automation, you need to focus on functionality. Guys have changed something, we need to retest functionality that doesn't broken. But we can have this automation test, but I think that we'll run it once, and after it we don't need to rerun it, because otherwise it is not changed. It is my main idea. I'm trying to, maybe I'm not wrong in this case, but as I can see it, layout is not going to be changeable all the time. So my idea is to focus on functionality instead of layout, for this speaking. So what do you think about it?
Okay,
please explain this from your side, from your point of view.
What?
I would like that Kirill explain this from his point of view. I hear just his thoughts on this.
Okay, then we have, for example, this screen. Let's consider that it is the final one. Studio Graphene did all necessary stuff. Guys implemented it, and it will not be changed anymore. All elements will be on their positions, and so I need to verify it all elements in all browsers only once. Then guys will fix necessary issues, and there will not be any changes in layout in the near future.
Yes.
So only functional workflow will be changed, can be potentially be changed.
Yes, as I can see it, it is. Maybe just like a quick question. So, IR tests, when you work with it, do they automatically change the like resolution of a browser, or do you need to change it manually in your code so it will be more?
No. In the beginning of the demo, I show the resolutions. They are hard-coded in framework, and in our tests, each test have its resolution. For example, this one is for such desktop resolution, this one is for such. And when I start all tests, they will run in one run all resolutions.
Okay, and for example, if StudentGraph makes some image, for example, smaller, do you need to reflect these changes in your code in order to check it?
Sure. Yes. I will go to specification and find they will do some image smaller. I go to specification, find this image, and change some lines. And that's all. They will retest it.
And after it will retest it or from all the resolutions, right?
Sure. This one specification for all resolutions.
So
maybe this one does this.
As I understand you, it will be much easier to change few lines for automatic testing than to change your...
Then to check these changes in all browsers.
Sure. That's what I'm pointing, Vitaly. So I believe I'm clear now.
Maybe yes, but okay. For example, some image became smaller, right? What we will test.
It's very, very easy to change it in the code.
Yes, but listen to me. So, when we change it in, so image some became smaller, for example, Kirill changes it in his specification. So what it does, it test. It tests that in all the resolutions, for example, this image became smaller, right? This is what it tests. But I think it is obvious that this image is going to be smaller on all the resolutions.
Not only smaller, but it has fixed size. Then all paddings, all CSS properties, its layout against other elements. So paddings will be greater and all other stuff.
From my point of view, you should do your job as you did it in the past. In the same way, just make changes and in a code, and that's it.
From this perspective, it can work. But from my perspective, as an understanding of all the process, I think that it is good. But as I can see, the automation of the functional testing will be more essential, more useful. It is okay that we can test it, but Kirill, if we can focus on the functional testing, it will be much more useful for us, as I can see.
No problem. I only wait for stable functionality because I need to describe all necessary fields, all necessary buttons, and if Evgeny will change them, all locators will be changed. So it's no matter to do it, for example, today. I need to wait a week when new screens will be implemented.
Okay, so I understood. Basically, I think that we need some resolution from Ian's side, for example. Because it is my understanding of functionality. I think this stuff is not useless. It is really can be comfortable to test some changes all over the resolution to browse. It's really cool, but we need to make sure because we have the really short terms, and we really need to understand what is most essential for us for this moment. So let maybe discuss it with Ian also and let him to choose what exactly we need to do, functionality or layout testing. But from my perspective, it is really cool that we can do this layer chain testing from all the browsers. It is really big headache. Okay, so can you show how does it work when you run it, how it works?
Yes, sure. Let's take, for example, main page. Then not to spend much time, let's start only one method for resolution 1920. Oh, sorry, it's Internet Explorer. It's a bad example. Let's do it in Chrome. The page is opened, then it is resized.
So the test is repeated now just for change, just because
It is not
pictures-
It is not repeated, Nico. You're in testing.
Yes, I know, but it goes through several cycles because the pictures in jQuery are changing at the beginning of at the top of the screen.
No. You mean that screen scrolled during testing?
Okay. Let me see the output in Visual Studio.
Then in output is here target folder, Galens HTML reports.
Okay, this output. Okay, but let me see in the output in the Visual Studio. You are using Visual Studio, as I said.
I use IntelliJ IDEA.
Yes, that's very similar. So just to see the output.
The output is a green line, successful test passed, and that's all. Total test run, failures.
Zero.
And
Skipped.
yes, skipped.
This is pretty fine with me.
Also, we can see in the left that all tests are green.
Okay, great. So when the testing is done?
Yeah. It's very fast, and it's take about, I think, 30 or 40 seconds. 400 tests were done. 36 seconds.
For 420 tested.
Yes.
No one fails and no warnings.
Yeah.
And what you need to include is just functionality.
Yes.
Okay. So what we need for you is to define what the functionality you should to include in your testing, and to define what classes or ID will be changed in a new code, so you can implement it in or make changes in your code, and your automation test will be finished.
My automation tests are for avsecure.com. I didn't start integrations.
So at the moment, you don't have automated tests for the
integration stuff. Yeah.
So you have to create it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we wait for.
Give me estimation time. How much time you need to create automated tests?
Let's see. Now I will open one more time.
About 40 pages.
Yeah, if we speak about layout testing, I need to look through the code, through the HTML, but 1, 2, 3 blocks, maybe about an hour to cover this page. It is about layout. If we speak about functional testing, it will be very fast because on each screen we have only about 1 or 2 fields, and about yes, 1 or 2 buttons which will click. So
one checkbox and one, for example, radio box and so on.
The test will be the same. Open the page, find input field, enter, type in pin code, click login button, and verify the result.
So, for example, if every page has 10 functionality, let's say that's maximum for functionality, but it has not 10, but let's say 10, and you have 40 pages to include with functionality and UI testing. So you said that every page for UI testing will take you 1 hour.
Not less than 1 hour. For example, this page will took half an hour, but
some page could take hour and a half.
This page is also very simple. Some text blocks, some buttons,
and 2 functionalities.
Yes, but pages which will take the most time. This is the main pages here.
Yeah. And probably the page where you need to define how will be logged in and so on. Okay, I understand. So it's 100 hours the time you need.
About if speaking about layout testing, maybe, or I think less.
Not only UI, I'm speaking altogether.
Altogether, yes. But I think it will be more correct to separate layout testing and functional testing estimations.
Yes, it makes sense. So for functional testing, you need give me some estimation time.
Okay, let's take simple workflow. Now I will open. Let's take a look here. For example, click Start Now button, open age verification, enter the code. Click Submit, enter and repeat, and create PIN. Then we select one of the options.
Yeah,
I think an hour, about an hour to cover this functionality. This one flow.
So how many flows we have? You know it better than me.
We have, for example, 3 flows, 3 correct flows for all 3 options. Then on this particular page, invalid flow for access key for PIN. This is 3, 4, 5. Another stuff is to log in with PIN and with access key and PIN. So we have 3 full flows. 1, 2, 3, 4 small flows and 2 login flows. I think some hours to cover them all. Only for one integration. For PHP, for example. Sorry. So I think the DOM will be the same for all integrations.
Yes, for all,
Yeah,
because
sure.
you need to check only the age wall.
Yeah, it will take not very long time. It will be fast.
Estimation time.
1, 2, 3.
You know what I think about estimations and all the stuff. During this weekend, I implemented the estimation stuff to all our junior board issues. It is basically estimation of the hardness. I think that we can. Sometimes it is hard to estimate it in general for Kirill, for all the his tests, for
Yes,
example.
it's hard to give a correct estimation time, but it's Kirill have a big picture of it, and I believe he can give some estimation time. It should not be correct, just it could be 10, 15 hours more or 10, 15 hours less. It makes sense that we don't care about it. So
Okay, let's take an estimation for an hour to cover the main flow for this moment. And this estimation will be corrected when I will cover the first one.
okay, and how this is how many hours for all testing, all functionality testing, all we have for all integrations
Manual or
automatically.
for automatically, let's take PHP. I think about 3 hours.
Per integration.
Yeah,
So,
for this one, and also I need to. Let's do it now. For example, let's just check the source code. Okay, it's the same, I think. It just like copy paste for each integration.
Few hours, for example.
Yeah, few hours.
Few hours.
Okay, guys. So
for UI testing.
UI testing, it's about, I think, hour and a half to cover this page and to verify against each browser to
So what I want is estimation for all testing at the moment. I understand for every page you need for one particular page maybe less, maybe more time, but something around 1 hour per page, if I understand you correctly.
Yep.
So when you summarize UI testing and functionality testing, we are on what number of hours?
It will be correct to say that it will be the sum of all layout testing plus about 10 or 15% for functionality, or maybe just, as I can see now, about 5 hours maybe for all functionality.
you know, guys, what I think will be correct for us. Estimation stuff is like rough. Estimation is good, but we have discussed like during the stuff with sprint ending on Friday. we have discussed it is good for us to insert the estimation system for us in Jira. So what no, just like what I suggest, we can create some kind of backlog for Kirill with kind of tasks, so issues for estimation for UI, issues for estimation for functionality testing, and blah blah blah. And he will take some time to estimate it roughly in hours or in complexity. And after it, we can back to the discussion, because I know what's the problem here. I think that Kirill need to take some time to estimate it, and we all will estimate our tasks from this moment. So on Tuesday, we'll have a sprint planning to determine the main focus of the next sprint, and each developer will estimate his own tasks. I think that Kirill can create the backlog of his issues and estimate it by himself, because when developer is really know his estimations, he can say it rather fast. But when Kirill can do it really fast, that it takes for him some time. I think, Nikas, that we can give him some time and he can estimate it in Jira, because it will be easier for him to give us like more estimations. And these issues will be in backlog, so it will be up to us to decide if we want to include it in our sprint work or not. I think that it will be a more proper way to deal with this issue.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
We are going to use.
I'm just wanting to figure out at this moment how long it will take, but what I believe it's 1 full week.
To cover functionality flow.
Functionality flow.
Yeah.
1 full week.
Yeah.
Okay. And UI testing another week.
UI testing is not another week. UI testing will be performed, tests will be created only in free time, because layout testing is not so important for us.
Yeah.
I think that yes, it will be correct.
Yeah, that's correct. So,
and looking back for last 2 weeks, I didn't have free time.
Yeah.
So let's go from the most urgent tasks to the most unurgent tasks.
Yeah, and I think Vitaly is right that we also need to wait for Ian's answer and his decision.
Yes.
Basically, he's paying for the stuff. So you need to understand if he want to pay for layout testing, for example, right? So if
yes.
Anyway, Nico, while we are on discussion, yes. So I think that on Tuesday we'll have a meeting with Mark and Ian, because on Monday is a holiday for them in England, and from this point we will give the estimations to all of our tasks in Jira. Believe me, it will be much more easier to estimate all the stuff we are going to focus on.
Yeah, that would be really great. It would be really great. So, Vitaly, you have an idea what are the tasks that the guys from development should do from Monday? Because you said right now that there is a holiday in England.
Yes, so what we have discussed and what we have came to what decision. For now, like Friday, weekends, and Monday, we have created a pool of tasks what we need to end. Basically, it is bug fixing, the finishing of the old tasks that were not finished in the previous sprint. It is only a few tasks. So what we have created, we have decided to create a list of tasks we need and can finish by Monday, only by Monday. Basically, because I am not really sure what exactly should we focus on the next sprint. I know that we need to reach 2.1, but we need to really understand what exactly tasks do we need to do. That is why we have created a pool of tasks we need to finish by Monday. And on Tuesday, we'll have an additional sprint planning to plan all the next sprint.
Yeah.
So I can give you can see a short list in Jira assigned to all of guys that are all in progress. So we have discussed that we finish all the tasks that are in progress. We are not starting the to-do because we are not sure what we need to focus on. So guys have a job till the end of the Monday. And on Tuesday, they won't have any tasks. So that is why we need to have a call on Tuesday morning and to determine all the other tasks we need to finish in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Do you know will Mark or Jan will jump into call?
Both of them. I have kindly asked them to join because it is really important to have them on the call. Their plans are always changed and we really need them. So they promised me that they will be on call.
Okay. Do you have any information about the new screens? When we will start to implement new screens?
Frankly speaking, it depends on the functionality and the focus we need to do. If Gainer can start from this point, basically, even from Tuesday, but really need to understand if it is the most urgent for us or not. So we decided to discuss it on Tuesday. So unfortunately, I don't have an idea yet because guys don't have it also.
Yeah, I believe what I believe is that implementing new screens is the first job what we will do, and after that we will polish the functionality regarding the screens we have.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it does make sense. I think it does. Anyway, we have left all this conversation to Tuesday because I know that I know what's the problem here. I'm a little bit more focused on other projects for the last week and focused on the mail stuff, and a little bit get lost in our main focus. Very speaking, I think Nico that.
Yeah,
it will be great. It will be great to have a call with you on Monday tomorrow because today it is evening to discuss where we are from your perspective. Because I get a little bit lost and it will be great for me to understand it.
Okay, that's not that's really not a problem. Vitaly, you can ask me every time when you want. What I what I need from you is no matter. Let's say we will have a call tomorrow, and just give me the time. I have a bunch of jobs on my back at the moment, so I need the time how I can organize myself because every minute now is very important for me.
It will be something like in the first half of the day, I think.
Okay.
Let's assume that I will have some free time. Hell, tomorrow is a really busy day. Let me think about it. Maybe something like I don't know. Will you be at work something like 8 p.m. UK time?
8 p.m. UK time. Okay, it plays for me.
I think that it will be the best time for me because the morning tomorrow it is the end of the week or it is the beginning of the week, and at the beginning of the week I have a lot of work to do, like from the perspective to see what is going on, right? So I think that the evening will be better.
Okay, makes sense. So we will have a call tomorrow, you and me first, and then we will probably have a call with Jan and Mark,